Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Belief Bag, where we talk about prophetic dreams and visions and exit and investment strategies for the wealth transfer and our crypto bags. This is Kelly, and I'm so very excited to be bringing you this new video today. Now, this video will be in 4 parts, with the very first part being a montage of my original crypto exit plan dreams and visions starting in 2020 and 2022, and how they led me to a network that I believe that is being highlighted for us to use now and into the future. And that network at the time wasn't built when I first started having these dreams and visions. And so I'll let you decide if you believe that. And again, this is not financial advice or investment advice of any kind. Please take everything back to the Lord and let Him confirm it for you. But the first part is a montage of those dreams and visions, and the second is a montage of the network and what's special about it and why the Lord would lead us here. The third part will be other people in the community, their Flare Network dreams or suspected Flare Network dreams. And then the fourth will be a little teaser into the first protocol that I believe the Lord is highlighting within the network. I believe Marcus the Minister with Walk This Way channel had a Wrapped XRP dream, and I believe his dream is highlighting the main protocol that everybody's really, really excited about for low risk yield, called Firelight. Firelight is a very exciting protocol within the network. Now, how do you get to these protocols? At the very end of this video, there is a link that I would like you to bookmark, and that is a general site and I even show you a little clip that has all the protocols on one interface that you can click on and go to each interface. So if you want to deal with Firelight, you click on Firelight once it's on there. If you want to deal with more markets, you click on more markets. It'll take you to more markets interface, and you just connect your wallet at the top of that interface. So each protocol will have an interface. Now, most of these interfaces will be within our wallets, within weeks probably, but just know it's very, very, very simple to interact with this network, okay? So we'll save the specific details for later. Right now, I just want you to get the outer pieces of the puzzle of how to utilize your XRP in the future within this ecosystem. I hope you're as excited and thrilled as I am on how the Lord led us here. And just know more videos to come on specific protocols, shorter videos with specific protocols. So thank you so very much. God bless.
If you watched video 1 and 2 that I put out in the last week, I discussed a series of events that led to creating this YouTube channel that I did not have in my future visions whatsoever. But one, I woke up repeating aloud, have an exit plan, have an exit plan. Then in a vision, I was physically told that there is going to be something that wraps around XRP to buy it. And then I was given this Flare Network vision. The title of this first dream is Have an Exit Plan, Have an Exit Plan. And I believe it was dated October of 2020. Now here's my short dream. The very first scene, I am shown a view of myself laying in my bed sleeping. And then the scene changes. Now the view is from inside my garage, where a group of nefarious people on a mission were trying to breach the door of our home. They were putting their backs into it, they had their shoulders pressed against the door, and they were pushing with all of their might. And then the scene changed back, and I'm now under my bed, where there is a trap door. I have it hinged open, and I'm looking into it like my next move is to enter. Now back in the garage, this group was still trying to breach my door with all the force they could muster. I felt like at any moment they were going to break down my door and my house was going to be overrun. I woke up repeating aloud, have an exit plan, have an exit plan. And in my spirit, I knew without a doubt that this was indeed a crypto dream. My very first crypto dream, actually. The Friday before Mother's Day 2022, my 6-year-old daughter arrived home from school and handed me a Mother's Day gift that she had made in class. As I'm removing that tissue paper, I noticed these black black horseshoe shape or rainbow shape earrings with sparkles embedded in the black clay material. My daughter proceeded to say, "We were able to pick the shape and the color ourselves, Mom. Do you like them?" Immediately, I was in awe that if I were to put these earrings back to back, it would make the traditional black XRP emblem. Like I mentioned in my previous video, my husband and I had been investing in our XRP since March of 2020. Needless to say, I thought these earrings were absolutely perfect. Now, later that evening, I'm letting our dog out, and as I'm peering out the side light of our front door, that is when I was thrown into a powerful vision. I heard the following, just like it was delivered telepathically to my spirit. "Kelly, you're an investor in crypto and real estate. Kelly, you're a teacher, just not in the traditional sense. Kelly, you are a healer," which has been my passion for the last 17 years. Now, hearing this said to me in a way my soul could feel every word, had tears of joy flowing. As I'm hearing this message, my body was feeling pure love, like it was a physical hug. Then I felt an urge to pick up the earrings that I received earlier that day. And as I'm admiring them, I got this overwhelming feeling to wrap the metal post of the earring around the rainbow shape. So the metal post that goes through the ear, I was instructed to wrap that around the U shape or the rainbow shape of the earring. Now, mind you, my human mind was in the background thinking, this is crazy. But it was almost like my hands were on autopilot. And I started to wrap the metal post around the earring. The clearest voice filled my spirit with the following words: "There is going to be something that wraps around XRP. Buy it. Buy it." Let me repeat. There is going to be something that wraps around XRP. Buy it. Buy it. You all, I was blown. I'm even getting goosebumps now. Blown out of my socks. Such a powerful message that I couldn't have made up if I was given 1,000 tries. It was just so off the wall. Now, if you haven't watched my very first video that I released yesterday, where I woke up repeating the words, "have an exit plan, have an exit plan," you may want to do so. I now believe these visions are a continuation of that message. And I believe this series of visions are setting the stage for an investment strategy for our long-term XRP holdings. And this is really important because I haven't seen anybody talking about this yet, other than like real estate and foundations that we're going to support. But what are we going to do with that long-term XRP holdings? And this is what he has been giving me. So between this vision and the next vision, he is going to lay out a blueprint for us. Now, one evening I was in bed putting sell orders in on KuCoin, and I decided to call it a night. I closed my laptop, I turned off the side lamp, closed my eyes, and a date was in front of my eyes, clear as day, July 13th. The word July was in block letters. Now, what was different about each letter of July was it was filled with these very pronounced stripes of beautiful colors. Now, in my notes, I wrote down that they were stripes of rainbow colors because that was the closest description that I could give to what I saw. Now, as you can see in my notes, I really had no idea what was actually going to happen that day. Now, on the evening of July 13th, something the XRP community had been anticipating since 2020. If you've been in since 2020, you were anticipating the Flare network, a utility fork of the XRP ledger. It launched in observation mode. Now, here is the Flare logo and the pictures on their website. They all have these beautiful stripes and swirls of color filling them. Now, this July 13th vision was so clear. I was very confident that something was going to happen in crypto that day, but receiving visions is a new gift. So I wasn't about to share a date, definitely with the community. But so I just told my sister, my niece, my best friend, and here I am confirming what actually happened with them on July 13th, just to reference back. This prophecy was clearly fulfilled July 13th, 2022 with the Flare network. But if you noticed on my original vision, I also wrote, could this be settlement day maybe? Well, close. What I never could have imagined is what would happen this year on July 13th, 2023. Ripple summary judgment came in, and as a matter of law, XRP was deemed not a security.
After a nearly 3-year battle with the SEC and the worst Christmas ever, the federal court in the United States has ruled that as a matter of law, XRP in and of itself is not a security. Yeah, that one, you can applaud all you want for that one. Other than Bitcoin, XRP is now the only digital asset with regulatory clarity in the United States. Yeah, I'd applaud for that one too.
You all know when it comes to dates are tough. But this vision was so clear it could not be misconstrued as anything but July 13th. I do not think this is a coincidence that this date and this prophecy came to pass twice. Then just recently, I was led to this video of Sharon's with Now Daily Bread, and that's where I got my first confirmation, or I had my first confirmation that there will be people that will be led to somehow utilize our sitting XRP. So let's watch.
I'm not quite sure how this would play out, but it could be that some people will be called to do something with XRP assets in itself, and I have no idea how that will play out. But those who know, those who understand this financial system, whatever it is, this world of finance, they know that they understand what's going to be happening. They understand that realm very well, and I don't. But I have this is just my feeling. I feel that there will be others who will be doing something, and I'm not sure if they're going to be leasing XRP, and honestly, I don't know how it will work, but their calling will be something in the area of XRP itself, and I'm not sure how that will play out, okay?
This was confirmation for me, but I still just thought he must be giving out our specific assignments. And I, Kelly, was supposed to learn how to use this network to grow some of my stored XRP instead of just letting it sit idle. But through much more revelation, I realized, no, this wasn't just for me. I was meant to share. I think the Lord is showing us the financial system that we will be able to participate in as the traditional banking system tightens its hold on the people. Now, after watching this next video of Sharon's, where she received more revelation on XRP being a key, it is becoming clear that we will more than likely not be trading much XRP out for cash, that holding on to our XRP long term is vital to what's ahead, but so is having a financial system and marketplace like Flare Network. Let's take a look.
Cash. So you've done what you thought was a wealth transfer, but actually it's not wealth if you can't use it. Yes, it's a lot of money, but what good is it? Wealth is when you can actually use you can acquire things with the assets that you have. That's wealth, you know. So when I say that XRP is a key, XRP is actually going to be used to access the new monetary system, you know. So in other words, what I believe the Lord is saying is, I believe that the Lord is saying to us that the XRP that you and I are acquiring right now, okay, this XRP is not for us to then go and exchange it for this. Yeah, that's not the point that the Lord is making when he calls you and I to acquire XRP. Yeah. So for example, I would imagine that we could use XRP to buy land, properties, buy the things that the Lord has put on our hearts to buy. But I don't imagine that we're going to exchange our XRP for this. Yeah.
So how does Sharon's message tie into Flare? Well, within this network, you can grow your assets, you can move money around, get in and out of assets, buy real estate entirely online through applications like Flare Finance maybe, or NFT projects. I just read about one this morning called Propy, Propy, that empowers buyers, sellers, and real estate agents to close loans entirely through the Flare network. Now, who knows all the applications that will be attached to this decentralized network right out of the gate? The possibilities are huge. Now, Sharon's message was also more confirmation that the Lord was leading me to share these visions. I actually redid this video today, because in the first video, I went into some of the simple ways that you can grow your wealth with the Flare network. I imagine, just like the stock market has been the standard way to invest for most people, I think the Flare network is going to be one of the main ways we compound our wealth going forward. But I'm going to leave specific details for other videos, because I think the bigger picture here is that the financial network is the key to the back end of this wealth transfer to be able to utilize some of that XRP. Now, just know there are going to be so many ways to earn compounding yields simultaneously within this network. This is a generational wealth maker. Now, instead of all your assets sitting idle, we will be able to multiply some of that sitting wealth, and most importantly, be able to continue to bless others for generations. Now, many new business models that we can't even comprehend, applications and ways to invest, will come from the Flare network. And like I'm saying here, even decentralized banks. So think back to what Sharon just said. Eventually, using regular banks and cashing out in physical cash may not be an option for us because of a number of reasons. And what Flare is becoming is a huge decentralized financial system and marketplace, basically being built right under people's noses. And I've come to the conclusion that the Lord has been preparing me to teach about it on this channel. And this is important because many in this community are going to have extraordinary amounts of XRP. But what then? We are going to need avenues to buy our real estate, start our foundations, help our communities, and grow some of that idle XRP. That is what these visions are pointing to, helping the community with the back end of this wealth transfer. And Flare is a key to our future banking and utilizing those assets that would otherwise be sitting on our ledgers for years, maybe decades to come. But also it gives us a financial system we know we will be able to use decentralized and permissionlessly during these unsure times. And that makes me feel much more empowered.
Obviously, I think there's a sentiment among many that XRP was meant to be a specific token for cross-border payments, fast and cheap. I think that has changed over time, and there's a lot of people building things with Ripple and on XRP, and you are one of them.
Hi, I'll introduce myself. I'm Hugo, co-founder of Flare Network. Flare is its own dedicated layer one, focused around data protocols, really heavily decentralizing data protocols. And we use those data protocols, at least in the first outing, as in the first set of products that are coming to Flare, to essentially unlock the DeFi capabilities of tokens like XRP. Although we won't be stopping there. But we're very focused on XRP because we think it's been ignored for DeFi purposes for a very, very long time. So although we're not building directly on the XRP ledger, we are building what we think of as sort of the strongest DeFi offering for XRP. And that's because we're an EVM-based network, which means that builders can slot into Flare very, very easily. And we think that being able to liberate what is currently around $150 billion of value and bring it to DeFi on Flare is a very useful value proposition.
Largely, those tokens that don't have smart contracts, the way they're moved to other chains is suboptimally decentralized, like just like not very decentralized. Right. And we thought, well, okay. How would you get those tokens into a DeFi ecosystem, but in a way that's decentralized? We thought, well, okay, well, you need a blockchain. That blockchain needs to be able to access data. There are these external data protocols like Chainlink and Band Protocol and API3, but those external data protocols, they're not secured by the same quality of security that you get on a blockchain.
I'm Hugo, Fillion, co-founder and CEO of a blockchain called Flare. And today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about data in blockchain and why it's not as good as it should be. So we term Flare as a third generation blockchain. What does this mean? Well, in the beginning, there was Bitcoin and other non-smart contract platforms. And they allow users to perform very simple transactions, such as payments and escrows. Importantly, and the reason why we're all here, is they allow that to happen without a middleman and without censorship. Then came Ethereum and the plethora of other smart contract platforms. They add logic to these transactions in the form of virtual machines, letting people do slightly more complex transactions. And now comes Flare, the only third generation blockchain, letting people build logic using a virtual machine, but integrating data natively to the chain.
The unique thing about Flare is that it has its own native data protocols. So we have oracles baked into the Flare validators, which means that you can get price and state data and data from Web 2 directly through Flare rather than through using an external oracle.
I want to talk about the security side, though. One of the big things in crypto is obviously whether something is custodial or non-custodial and how much security that offers you. Hugo, how does that work with Flare?
Yeah, so we've been building the protocols. Why we started with data, and it took us a long time to build those protocols because you've got to build a blockchain from the ground up, which has data protocols embedded into it, and then you've got to make those data protocols work. You've got to attract validators, and so the entire reason for that was to make everything as non-custodial as possible. So we built this. We're building this set of bridges, of which FXRP is the Flare XRP. It's a bridge between XRP and Flare, and it allows you to move XRP to Flare without a custodial element. And that's because we use price and we use data from XRP in order to be able to build a set of smart contracts that effectively forms the bridge. Very, very different to like how other people do it. And so it is highly non-custodial. Of course, we think that, in offering institutional grade products, both to retail and institutions sit on a large amount of XRP, there's an element of custodialness in the way people will interact with it, meaning that the majority of retail, their XRP is probably going to be staked via a custodial institution like an exchange, but Flare itself is very structured to be entirely non-custodial. The majority of retail, their XRP is probably going to be staked via a custodial institution like an exchange.
One of digital finance's foundational assets. Its full potential underutilized. XRP. The time has come. Its dormant power awakens. With FXRP, your assets move beyond holding. Stake, trade, borrow, compose. Flare.
Effectively, until really Flare launched FXRP, you haven't really been able to do that much with XRP. So on Flare, we're building out a full ecosystem. So to go back to FXRP, FXRP is XRP on Flare. Flare has been working with the XRP community for a long time. It brings utility to XRP. It allows XRP to drive effectively modern finance, effectively DeFi, which is where the world is going to a large extent. So it allows you to also put your XRP to work. So unlike just sitting and hodling, you can get a yield on your XRP, and that's absolutely key to making the experience of hodling much better. So, that's why we're doing it. Those are the opportunities it unlocks. And I think it's hopefully very, very interesting for XRP and for XRP holders.
Finally, F assets are officially live. Oh, man. This feels crazy, man. This feels weird. I'm excited, but it just feels like it's a dream. It's not just yield, guys. It's lending. It's literally everything what you can do in decentralized finance. XRP will also do that. And right now, as you can look at this screen right here, 2.2 million XRP already minted in the last, I would say like 2 hours. $6.5 million in dollars already minted, ladies and gentlemen. $6.5 million. And it has been 2 hours. Guys. And like I told you about the collateral, we have 452 million Flare in collateral as of right now. That's a 500 million flare in collateral. 0.5% almost is in collateral already in the past 2 hours. And that is $12 million in dollars. This engine, it's just getting started, man. This car needs to drive, all right? But let this engine run first 2 hours. And as of right now, you can already see these things working. Live. How much in collateral? How much has been minted? This is exactly what we were waiting for. And the institutions are not even in yet.
Do you think that this will be mainly retail facing, or do you think that your products and services that you're curating will be more institutional enterprise adopted?
So there's a very large amount of institutions sitting on very, very large amounts of XRP. So, whilst I think retail will be important, I think really the very large slugs of XRP that come into Flare will come in from institutions.
We're witnessing a kind of paradigm shift when it comes to XRP, XRP ledger, blockchain, crypto, etc. And this is concerning Flare. So if you've been paying attention, Flare Network launched FXRP, and it's a way to bridge XRP into DeFi. And I think that a lot of people don't realize the kind of dream that the Flare Network has for XRP. Not only have they created this synthetic wrapped token, so to say, so that XRP can participate in DeFi, they intend to build an entire XRP-Fi ecosystem that is going to be absolutely huge.
A Web 2 analogy for Flare itself is that kind of gets to my bigger thesis of why we've built what is effectively a hub chain for XRP. So we've added XRP on Flare. At a later date, we will be adding Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, possibly Stellar. We've built out a very strong DeFi ecosystem already, ready for these tokens. And I think there's value in all of these tokens which hold very large amounts of value to be able to come and be used in a single unified system. A good analogy for that is something like London as a financial center, maybe 50 years ago, being a hub between Asia, Europe, and the US. If you think of each of those geographic locations as different tokens, XRP, Bitcoin, Dogecoin. London was a place where you came to do business between the world markets. Flare will be a place where people will come to do business, DeFi, between different token markets. And that's, I think, the best analogy I can come up with.
When I saw that vision, I immediately got some sort of insight in the spirit. And I understood that XRP in the coming days is it's going to be, the way it's going to work. This is the bit I'm saying to you guys, this is fresh understanding. So bear with me. Take this like a baby and send it back to the Lord in prayer, because this is fresh. I'm still having to work it out myself. I heard the word like, it's like a pool, like when you have people, one person, there's a pool of people. And I was made to understand that XRP in the coming days will work like that. And then I also got the word network. So it'll be sort of like a network. And then I also saw or understood that this is straight after I saw that bicycle. I saw that it's like learning to work with XRP, and I saw that those who are learning it now will be the ones who would be excelling in XRP in the coming days, and those who haven't learned it will not be excelling. And it was straight after that I saw. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? Like a network, This is so fresh. I'm still going to be praying. This was just today. This is quite big. I feel like this is very big, and it needs the person who's interested needs to take this and look into these things. And I'm not sure if it's to do with a shaking off of the public, shaking off the common people, the common person, not to be able to deal with XRP. Hence, in order to deal with XRP in the coming days, it needs to be You need to be within a pool. You need to be within a network. And do let me know if somebody else, if you've heard this this word before, or if you already have this understanding already.
All right. Now, so let me show you this. So in the dream, I saw $247 million in total value locked for the Flare network, flashing over and over again. Now, let me go to this. This is what I saw, but with the Flare colors, right? This is what I saw. So imagine, now look at the numbers at the bottom, right here. This is what I saw over and over again, but what kept flashing was $247 million. So what TVL is equivalent to is you walking into Bank of America, PNC, Chase, and making a bank deposit, which helps determine their overall value based on people's trust of that particular entity / bank. So same thing here with the Flare protocol, the Flare network, the total value locked.
My dream said that a pink token would be bought to virtual completion. Tuesday morning, I dreamt that a particular cryptocurrency was being bought up. I watched as people actively place orders for the last bit of this token's remaining supply. I'm talking a literal few shares left. The only thing I saw in the dream that identified this cryptocurrency was the color pink. No logos, just pink. And not a little bit of pink like the Shiba Inu logo, but a mass of pink. I woke up from the dream and immediately thought about a coin whose logo fits this description. It was a cryptocurrency that my friend encouraged me to buy back in April. When I woke up from the dream, Velo is all that I thought of. I began planning this video and working on the thumbnail when all of a sudden, Flare popped into my head. I don't own any Flare, so maybe that's why it didn't cross my mind when I first had the dream. Flare is just as pink as Velo. These logos even look similar stylistically. I instantly contacted our resident Flare expert, Kelly, at BeliefBag. I shared my dream with her, and here's her response.
Marcus, as soon as you said pink, my brain went immediately Flare. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with me. It is so hard to explain all the benefits of Flare Network, but the decentralization, I mean, when you look at other networks and you know that the data that the network provides for, like smart contracts, all of that has to be purchased from a centralized source. But Flare Network data is going to be like gold in the future. It is a decentralized data is going to be like gold, I guess I should say. And what Flare Network has built into it at the blockchain level is these data oracles that bring in this decentralized data and is able to share it with blockchains. It's able to pull data off the internet and be able to validate it and share it with other blockchains, and they will pay for that data in the future. But the cool thing about the network is that the security. I mean, every asset has to be backed by Flare tokens, stablecoin, and the asset itself. It locks it up, and then it gives that asset smart contract capabilities. Well, the amount of Flare that's going to be needed to be locked up is going to be insane. I mean, insane. And I know people say, oh, this blockchain, that blockchain, and everybody's got their blockchain. But Flare was truly given to me by God. I mean, the date, July 13th, was given to me, and that's the date that Flare launched live. And then the next July 13th, that's when XRP was deemed not a security. There is something here, Marcus, and I think it's going to be absolutely huge. Plus the safety of the bridges. I mean, there's billions of dollars stolen in centralized bridges, just crossing from one blockchain to the next. These bridges are insured by the Flare token and other assets too. So, I mean, there's multiple layers of security of your asset when using Flare. There's so much to it that I can't even put it into words, what this blockchain is going to be used for. But just talking the locking up Flare Network, the total value locked is going to be absolutely huge, which to me means that we're getting Flare at a steal price right now. So I am so glad to hear that it's possible that Flare was a part of your dream, because I'm telling you, there is something here, and I can't wait till it's all unfolds for us, but it's going to be a security for us in the future, having this token, but also having this network. Thanks for sharing, Marcus. I hope you have a wonderful day.
I hope you had a quickening in your spirit while watching this. I hope that your spirit leaped and that you saw the amazing way the Lord, in my opinion, precisely nailed this network before it was even built. And I'm so excited about the yield opportunities, and please mark down this website right here. This is a centralized place where you can get to all of them. And next, we're going to move on to Marcus's Wrapped XRP dream that I believe may be pointing to the Firelight protocol, the first main protocol that I want to highlight, and I will be highlighting in my next video. And Firelight, over the weekend, I had, after I had told Marcus and Sharon about Firelight, I went down to my son's family weekend on his campus, and all throughout the night, as I would roll over, I was talking about Firelight in my spirit. I would see this little light on the wall, and I would say Firelight, and then I'd roll over, and then I'd wake up again. I'd see this light on the wall, and I'd say Firelight. It was like I was talking in my spirit about Firelight the whole night that I was sleeping. And that's not unusual for me. When I am on his campus, for every time I've spent the night down on his campus, I have had a dream or a vision. So pretty exciting. But let's listen to Marcus's dream here. And I just want to point out that retail will be handing off their XRP to centralized sources to have it managed, like exchanges and money managers, centralized money managers. By learning Flare Network, you are skipping all those middlemen. You are learning to truly become the lender and not the borrower. Let's watch Marcus's dream. And a little teaser of Firelight at the end. Until next time.
Hey y'all, it's Marcus. On Sunday afternoon, as I was getting ready to go to dinner, I began to watch a new video from Kelly at BeliefBag. She spoke about XRP and mentioned Wrapped XRP. I didn't get to watch her entire video, and when I stopped, she hadn't gone too in depth about what it is. I went to dinner, came home, edited my wealth transfer dream video, and went to sleep without being able to finish her video. I had a dream in the middle of the night. In the dream, I was listening to a man standing behind a podium wearing a suit and speaking about XRP. I heard him say there could be some kind of lace. This means we would buy the ticket instead of the token. But fortunately, the ticket costs more than the token because it's laced. If I can paraphrase what the businessman in the dream said, it was like, unfortunately, we won't be buying the token, but the ticket. But fortunately, the ticket will cost more than the token. Sometimes in a dream, you know certain things without them being mentioned explicitly. I knew he was talking about XRP. I also knew that when he mentioned it being laced, he was talking about it being wrapped. Also, when the man said, fortunately, the ticket will cost more than the token, he was implying that it will be worth more. Not that it would hurt our pockets to obtain, but that it would be beneficial to already have it because of its worth. I had never heard of Wrapped XRP before I heard Kelly mention it in the short segment of her video that I watched.
I'd like to introduce you to a product that I think will become one of the largest use cases for XRP over the next months and years. And that is the ability to stake your XRP, retain long-side exposure, and earn a yield. And the protocol is called Firelight, and it's powered by Flare. Firelight is a staking platform built on Flare by the highly experienced DeFi professionals at an entity called Centaura.
So we approached a very large, effectively DeFi entity in the US that we know well and works with us on our ecosystem called Centaura. We said, look, we think there's a really great opportunity here to build a very simple product for XRP holders that allows them to earn a yield, be comfortable with where that yield comes from, be comfortable that you're not messing around with the tokens whilst they're locked away, so that it's all on chain, non-custodial, and effectively a very simple protocol that enables them to get a yield on this asset that doesn't have a yield. That's called Firelight, and its first major product is effectively ensuring blue chip DeFi ecosystems, which are incredibly low risk, so very close to staking yield, very close to the risk level of staking yield. So that's kind of our starting point, and from that staking protocol you get a staked representation of your XRP, staked XRP. You can then take that staked XRP, and if you wish to, you can do more with it in the ecosystem, either yourself, or you can hand it off to a manager, also as a risk curator, to effectively work it for you by going to get yield further on that staked XRP. So that lets you get yield on the base XRP and then yield on the staked XRP, which increases your yield on effectively on the base XRP.
We've been working with Firelight, and they have this concept of economically secured services. So this is more about putting your XRP to work in more conventional economic ways. So really the first major product that will come onto Firelight is effectively your XRP acts as an insurance pool against extremely low risk protocols.
Point on it, I won't mention names, but it was my best week ever for deals. Really, we had a lot of meetings with exchanges, major exchanges, which went very, very well. We had one particular meeting with one particular massive partner. Obviously until it's announced, I can't say anything, but exchanges are very, very interested in integrating, XRP yield play. And, so Flare offers a holistic DeFi ecosystem for XRP. And frankly, exchanges, they want to play with Firelight. So, it's the best product in terms of risk reward for them to be able to derive XRP yields for their users. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to stake, all the XRP in existence. There's no reason not to get yield on it. There's no reason not to get yield on it.